Hey guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here with a little reaction to Trisha Paytas speaking out against Colleen Ballinger, her thoughts that surround this entire situation and catastrophe. And I really wanted to get this out immediately for you guys because I think that she makes some really valid points and I want to get this out as soon as possible. So it might go up at 1 o'clock in the morning, but nevertheless, if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, now I have listened to this one time already, so it's not a normal reaction, but I'd like to say that before we get into Trisha's video, I want to make one thing very clear. I side with Trisha and her thoughts and opinions around this situation. I think that it took courage for her to make this video, and even though she has done many things in her past that I strongly disagree with, and I do not, I had lost a lot of respect for her because of some of the things that she did in her past. I still want to equally acknowledge that current day we are here to respond to what she is saying in the moment and her emotions and her feelings. So I don't want it to come off like, oh, well, you're picking sides. Like, Trisha's not a good person either. I want to focus on the here and now and what behaviors are being exhibited right here and right now. I think that Trisha has done a decent job of staying out of drama, especially since she had her child. Don't agree with her kid being on social media. I talk about that all the time. But nevertheless, let's get into this reaction and hear what she has to say. And FYI, for anyone who's wondering, right now when I'm filming this, the video has 50,000 likes to 1.1 thousand dislikes. So that is a very favorable response from YouTube and people that watch this video. And Colleen's ukulele video, just as a quick comparison, Colleen, this is just another confirmation that she does not care about what she's done or what she is doing or the people that she has hurt and how they're feeling about this, because this video is still up and it's 5 days later. Wow. It has 86,000 likes to 949,000 dislikes. That is almost 1 million dislikes on her, strumming the banjo video that she thought was going to be just either quirky or just a big FU, and it might be a little bit of both, but I've already covered that. So let's allow Trisha to speak and hear what she has to say.
So this is a video that I really did not want to make, and I feel like the past few years, I've really taken a step back from having to comment on everything, having to respond to everything said about me on the internet, because at the end of the day, it just gets really exhausting. And then, of course, being in other people's business, even if I have strong opinions about it, I really decided years ago that it wasn't good for my mental health. I have a mental illness, I have personality disorder, which is hard to regulate my emotions. I get triggered very easily. So I've learned to deal with triggers the past few years, and I feel like I've done a very good job managing and regulating emotional stability. And on top, aside from all that, just, being known as the person.
I do want to say, I think being on YouTube, especially on the creator side, it is usually a safer route to avoid as much trauma as you can. I'm sure that you guys have heard me talk about this before, but there are a lot of opinions out there, and it is very few and far between when I will actually acknowledge things that are being said about me, because typically it's very surface level. It's just simply somebody that doesn't like me, supports family vloggers, hates me for having an opinion because I'm not a mom, even though I'm commenting on these kids being exploited. So it's usually stuff like that. I typically just tend to ignore that and look the other way. And on top of it, most of those opinions can't be shared without look shaming or being incredibly hurtful with the opinions that are being shared. But I do think that it's the safer route. And if you can get into that headspace and stay in that headspace and ignore and try to stay away from as much drama and addressing things as possible, we all come across stuff online that we don't like. I'm not saying, don't talk about it, don't, vent your frustrations or whatever. But as far as like bringing it to your channel and constantly allowing so much of your content to be responding to people that have silly opinions about you, it is a much healthier route to take as far as your mental health goes based on my experience.
Person who's just always in drama and can't keep friendships. It's not a good look. I've worked really hard the past couple of years to kind of just stay in my own lane and not engage in anything online, um, which is commonly referred to as drama. But I feel like this is beyond drama. I'm putting my own hurt feelings aside, and my feelings are very hurt. I've had like a
And I think that she's done a pretty good job at that. Let me know how you guys feel down below. Decent, not perfect, but definitely better than she was.
sick to my stomach feeling for a while now, and today especially. Um, Me and Colleen started a podcast this year, 3 episodes. We were always friendly before. I think it shocked a lot of people because like, oh, I didn't know they were close friends like that. And the thing is we weren't close friends. We were friends. I considered us to be friendly. When I had my daughter, she reached out, and I thought, oh, it's great to have mom friends and, friends, who have kids. So I thought this podcast would be great because we always got along really great when we would see each other. We've been doing videos together on and off, like maybe once a year since 2018. And so I, just thought, well, it's just a good podcast to get to know each other. It's a good, little.
And I always confirm if I'm right or wrong in this opinion, but I felt like when the podcast was announced, Trisha was way more excited about it than Colleen was. She made a set and she was being really vocal with her excitement and her praise that Colleen was willing to do this with her. And I felt like she was excited about the costumes and the topics and all of this kind of stuff. It just felt like I was seeing a lot more enthusiasm from Trisha than I was Colleen. Her kind of vibe was like more like it was going to be an inconvenience to her. That was my kind of perception based on when the podcast was announced.
Thing for me to do because I haven't really done anything for a couple of years, and I really enjoy being creative and producing stuff, and it was kind of fun to do costumes and stuff. I wasn't aware of these most recent things that are coming out. Everyone knows I have a very, very, very firm stance on talking to anyone underage, platonic or not. I've always been very, very firm with this, that I think it's inappropriate. I've been known to talk about many occasions where someone is just 17 years old and I don't feel comfortable with them, being around them, hanging out.
So I guess she's trying to say that she wasn't familiar with what Adam shared back in 2020, which I'm going to take her word at face value. I thought that situation was much bigger than, I guess, what it actually was. I thought that everybody found out about that because Colleen herself addressed it. Maybe Trisha didn't realize the complexity, or she wasn't fully informed on what was going on. But as far as her explaining her stance on talking to underage people behind the scenes, this is the stance that every adult should have. If you are over the age of 18, you should not be having a conversation with somebody younger than 18 in DMs, text, email, Discord, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Have a firm stance. Know that that is your stance because it feels wrong to you. And don't engage. Once you realize that somebody is underage, the conversation stops and you move on from there. But Colleen was okay with it because these people were her fans and she knew that they were her strongest supporters, and they were also the ones that were willing to go on and defend her and become little keyboard warriors on her behalf. So she was engaging, but more importantly, she was engaging inappropriately with the young fans.
Them. I remember one time there was a very popular YouTuber who was 17, and another YouTuber I was friends with wanted to bring her to my apartment. I said, absolutely not. I'm like, she has to just stay in the car. Like, I have a lot of trauma when it comes to my relationships I had when I was underage, and not always sexual. A lot of my trauma comes from school, authorities at school, teachers at school that I trusted. And sorry, this is like hard for me to make. I'm really trying to, and I don't. It's a very hard boundary. Like it's one that I don't let up on with anybody. I think it's weird. I talked about it multiple times. I think it's weird. So when all this came out, I was shocked, the group chats and stuff. I was kind of shocked, and it's such a difficult thing.
I think it's really good that she vocalized how it is a really strong boundary. Point blank period. I'm not engaging in conversations with minors. That's just the way it is. if I look like a bad guy, if I look like I'm being too strict or too sensitive or whatever, then I will wear that with honor, because at least I know that I'm not engaging with people that are underage behind the scenes. Set the hard line and stay with it.
Because Colleen is someone that I quickly, in the literally the past month that we did this podcast, like I really, really like cared about and really like related to. I thought, well, you know, she told me she'd get canceled here and there, and she kind of understood when people would come for her for working with me, you know, because I've done stuff in my past that's, you know, not cool by today's standards, you know, and I think everyone can be take accountability and grow. Like I really do think people can like change and change their ways and stuff like that, if you can acknowledge it. Her video came out and I was just shocked, to say the least, that she didn't at least acknowledge this.
I don't even think that it wasn't cool by today's standards. It just simply wasn't cool, but I'm glad that she still acknowledged that, because and it's funny because Colleen wants to say, "Oh, well, I've been canceled before." Girl, people have tried to hold you accountable for being creepy, weird, or inappropriate. Nobody's trying to cancel you. And here we are again, current day. People simply want some accountability. We are talking about really serious stuff, which Trisha will detail here in a couple of minutes. But this isn't just somebody that doesn't like Colleen or thinks that she's unfunny or cringy.
Stuff that her own fans were saying, how they felt, you know, to kind of brush it over in the way she did, and you know, ultimately became like memes, and now it becomes somewhat lighthearted, even though it's not a lighthearted issue. I was shocked, and she sent me the link to her video, her apology video, and I didn't respond back to it because I was shocked. Weeks prior to the apology video, I know we were staying in touch because, again, I know what it feels like to have the whole internet come down on you, even if the whole internet is right. Like, I'm someone, again, who struggles with mental health issues and mental illness, and I know that.
I think it's very interesting that she sent the link of that video to Trisha before it went up. I'm glad that Trisha didn't respond, because instead of co-signing bad behavior, it's a lot easier to simply just be quiet. Just be quiet, ignore it, process your feelings. I'm really glad that she didn't respond to that.
I feel like, and I don't want anyone, guilty or not, to ever feel like they don't have someone to talk to, that there's not a way out of a situation, that there's not a way to make a situation right. So I kind of stayed in touch with her, but when I got involved with this, I got dragged into it rather. It was a few weeks ago, and two boys, both, one I believe was 20 at the time, and one who was 14 at the time, both.
You know what would have been a lot easier is for Colleen to go ahead and take some accountability early on. Instead, what we saw happen was weeks pass by, and then she comes on with a ukulele video that was a big FU to the people that she personally hurt. So she would have tackled this early on and just simply taken some accountability, then it wouldn't have been the whole internet's coming after me, because then she could have said, you know, a couple days went by, I came forward with a statement, I took full accountability, and, you know, the internet can't say, well, she waited weeks and then came with a damn ukulele and played a jingle.
The 14-year-old's alleged, because I didn't speak on this because I didn't see anything. And not to say that I don't believe this person, it's just a very, very, very serious allegation. It's very illegal. So I was kind of waiting to see what would kind of come out of anything before I had to make this video and this statement. Literally, my accountant, I don't know why, she got a text from like a Huffington Post reporter asking for a statement about all this, and I'm like, you know what, let me just put this out. And I hate putting any energy into this, but it's very, very serious. It's very serious, and it's a topic I don't take lightly, and I can't take lightly, as I am a full-time sex worker. I don't think that's a secret. It's not as advertised as it once was, but we already have a lot of stigma, misconceptions, allegations against us as sex workers. And so I need to nip this in the bud, that I do not condone at all unsolicited nudes, sending unsolicited nudes to anyone, of anybody, sex worker or not. I think using someone's nudes as a way to hurt them, make fun of them, make light of them, be mean is the lowest form of human, the lowest form of intelligence. I think that's so inhumane. I think that's so disgusting for anyone. Last night, the text messages were shown, and it's very clearly from Colleen to a fan. Has over 500,000 views on Twitter, that I'm not embarrassed by. I'm embarrassed for her, I try to take myself out of these equations when I'm feeling triggered. And if I were to look at it as it happening to someone else, I wouldn't be humiliated for the person in the photos. I'd be humiliated for the person who sent them. Although it can be humiliating.
So let's just talk about that for a second. Number one, the unsolicited portion of this. Yes, they were unsolicited, and that makes it, to me, that makes it even more inappropriate because nobody was asking for these. Nobody was seeking this out. And the fact that they were behind an 18 plus paywall means that Colleen or someone else that was over the age of 18 allegedly had access to this, and they were saving these photos to their device to then share in these group chats. And not only were they unsolicited, not asked for, and being shared with people that were underage, they were also being used as a way to bully and make fun of the way that Trisha looks appearance wise. And I don't want to rant on this for too long because most of my subscribers know exactly where I stand on this. If you have to make fun of the way that someone looks, the way they talk, what their skin looks like, what their body looks like, if that's what you resort to in order to make an argument or to be vocal that you don't like this person or you don't agree with what they're doing, and you automatically go to look shaming and body shaming, I think that you are your equivalent, your opinion is equivalent to that of something that a gutter would produce. It's just so adolescent, and I think this really again speaks to, she really stuck in that mindset of just a really immature, cruel teenager. And I think it really speaks to also her connection that she has with these teen fans, because it's like she has the same level of intellect and same kind of things that she finds entertaining as a very immature, cruel teenager would find. And that also help them connect and relate to one another. But I feel for Trisha, and when this first came out that her photos were being shared in this group chat as a way to make fun of her, even if they weren't being used to make fun of her, it would still be bad enough. But the fact that they were being used to bully and drag and make fun of her is extremely painful.
For the person in the photos as well. And it somewhat is embarrassing. I get made fun of all the time for my body, my nudes.
I don't think anyone wants to be made fun of. Nobody wants to have their body looked at and have people gather around. And allegedly, Colleen used to also have these watch parties. Another fan said that they would do watch parties and watch Trisha's NSFW content and make fun of her. So along with the photos, there were allegedly also videos and watch parties. And even if it was just one photo, one time shared, and it was used in a negative way, that is one too many. For Colleen to be in her late 20s and 30s, I keep going back to that age because this is literally a woman who was already married, going through divorce, with a new guy about to get engaged and, have her first child, all while she's being a mean-spirited, just nasty person in fan group chats. What a strange world to live in. I'd like to know if Eric Stocklin knew exactly what was going on in these group chats, because if he did and he was aware of the Trisha stuff too, then that's obviously a big problem because he was, indirectly involved, even if he wasn't in there typing the messages. If he knew about it, wow, what a mess. But I do feel for Trisha in this situation, and this stuff is really difficult to have it being shared on the internet, and she has to talk about it. It sucks.
Even under this person's posts, while I'm thankful he posted them so I could see that this is real, it's hearing all that horrible stuff underneath the photo, like about my body just being messed up or disgusting, and it's a lot. Yes, I'm a sex worker, and yes, I chose this job, and yes, I make money doing it, but it never feels good to have someone just like make fun of your naked body. It's just a really vulnerable thing, and it is a little embarrassing, if I'm being honest, but I'm more embarrassed for her that this is the kind of person she is. Like I'm so embarrassed. Sending these to fans unsolicited, the context of which she was sending these, I don't get the purpose. I don't know if there was an inside joke I'm missing on this. The fan said, hey, congratulations on becoming parents. Which a month later, she just responds with a nude of me and says, you look so pretty in this. And these weren't a long time ago. This is someone well into their 30s who just gave birth sending nudes. And a month prior, I was in her house meeting her child and doing a mukbang, meeting her newborn and doing a mukbang with her. In these texts, there's also friends of hers. They showed the viewing parties that were talked about to make fun of me. They did viewing parties of my adult content to make fun of me. And there's a friend of hers who I actually met as well back in 20.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she had a whole life. Like, this is a woman who, you know, from the outside looking in, she's financially, she has financial freedom. She has a career. People know who she is. She's, you know, in her now what had appeared to be her perfect relationship, and now she's having children. And even though she went on to exploit her children for YouTube fame, that's another conversation that I've already had. And during the day, she's in these group chats with these kids, sharing NSFW photos and videos of Trisha Paytas as a way to make fun of her. That is pathetic, and I agree with Trisha, embarrassing.
2018, with his face posing next to explicit images of me. And there was a video of it, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And it wasn't just one occasion. There was multiple times that she sent just different photos and different positions of me. I did ask her about these a couple weeks ago before there was the proof, so to speak, right? And she assured me that she had never sent photos of me, that this one fan who was underage at the time would send photos to her. She's like, no, he was a fan. He sent photos to me, and he was obsessed with you. And he would just send me it, and once in a while I'd like respond to him and be like, hey, okay. That's what she told me a couple weeks ago. There's a clip of her saying she saw a whale squirt, and she wasn't talking about Trisha Paytas. I sent her that as well, and she said everything's taken out of context, like these are lies.
Just the amount, I keep going back to the amount of pain that Colleen has caused people, whether it was Becky, Johnny, Adam, other people in her fandom, Trisha, JoJo Siwa. We don't know what could have gone on with them, you know, over the years. There were definitely some uncomfortable moments based on the video, so I can only imagine what happened behind the scenes, but just so much hurt. I don't understand how somebody could go through their life causing so much pain for the people that are around them. These are the people that are supporting you. They are the ones who are cheering you on when you get a show on Netflix, or you're going on a new tour, or you get a role in a Broadway thing, how she did that role in Waitress. These are people who are cheering you on. And you're just literally behaving like a 12-year-old mean girl.
And being as I was like her friend and I knew her as a person, I was trusting her, I guess. Because I mean, overall, who do you trust? Like this person you know in real life, or people you don't know anything about? I guess that's why that's that whole innocent until proven guilty.
She gave Colleen an out. She gave her the perfect opportunity to come clean. They could have had a one-on-one conversation about everything before we got to the point where we are now.
So there's two options there for her to say like, yeah, that was a while ago. I was a hater. I mean, I'm the first to say like, I've definitely have been a hater in the past. I've been miserable in my own life. I've been going through shit in my own life in the past, and I was miserable and I hated on people for sure.
So Colleen had the opportunity, and what did she do? She lied and blamed it on a child. This is the Colleen Ballinger that some people are still standing up for, still co-signing her toxic behavior, ignoring the actual facts that there are screenshots and proof and everything as to why there's being this conversation, being had around surrounding her. I would like for her to leave the internet and never come back, to be honest. How embarrassing. How embarrassing and how hurtful.
Not people that I would go and like be at their house and like do a whole podcast with, but sure, I can understand people, gossiping or making fun of people. I don't understand the making fun of bodies. That's weird. It's weird. I don't get those texts at all. Like I look at those and I'm like so confused. Like, okay, I'm the joke. My naked body's the joke, I guess. Okay. I don't know. It's very odd. But I kind of gave her outs because I was like, hey, like,
Everything's always a lie. Everything to Colleen is like, oh, they're lying. I've already taken accountability. Oh, they're making things up. It's never her. So don't ever come on here with a ukulele and try to say that you've taken accountability and changed your actions. Because Trisha is saying right now that weeks ago you literally just lied and blamed it on a kid.
we've talked crap about me. That's fine. We weren't that close back then, I guess. Like, whatever. And she vehemently denied, no, I never sent pictures of you. Like the underage fan would send me pictures of you, not specifying if they were nude or not. The text came out last night, and my heart started racing. I was triggered. I haven't been triggered in a while. I was triggered. My heart was racing. My stomach. I was sick to my stomach, and I don't know. I guess seeing stuff like that. That's probably the worst I've seen from someone that I've like considered a friend. Like it's pretty barbaric. It's pretty misogynistic, and it is downright cruel. It's a low level of a person. Um,
We have all been shady at one point or another. But when somebody comes to you and literally asks you face to face, like you're standing right there in front of them, and they give you an opportunity to be honest before everything hits the fan, and you literally lie and blame it on a kid, that tells me everything I need to know about your character or lack thereof.
to say that stuff, and again, this isn't years ago. This is someone well into their 30s. It's not a child. It's not a kid. As of now, as of recording this, the text came out, and the minor fan, who is now an adult, has said that those same pictures were sent to him.
And I've always said too, there's a big difference between being a little shady, being a little snarky, and being downright cruel. And that's a line that so many people blur, and it just like doesn't exist for them. They don't understand that like being a little shady is not being hurtful and attacking somebody for the way that they look. When you're attacking somebody for the way they look or the way their body looks, you're attacking things that they probably can't change about themselves. Why don't you focus on their actions, their behavior, the way that they're handling things, because those are all things that most people hopefully will be able to change if they are given criticism. Some of them ignore it and call it haters, and we know how that goes. But the attacking people for the way that they look is just, it is below the ground as far as having any intellectual conversations with these kinds of people. And it's insane that people actually listen to it sometimes.
This is all alleged, as I haven't seen anything, so I don't want to. I just want to put this out ahead of anything. I know there's every day something coming out, and seeing that text from the Huffington Post, I'm like, okay, let me just get ahead of this. I am so sorry to that person if this is true. I'm so sorry. I know firsthand how traumatizing that can be. I had nothing to do with this. I do not condone it. I think it's the most disgusting thing, and above all else, illegal. And to the person she sent, who was, I think, 20 at the time, maybe 21, I still think it's disgusting. A grown woman in their 30s doing this to someone who is in their house, been around their family. Like, you have some issues. It's a sickness. And I don't think this is jumping on a hate bandwagon. This is like, hey, maybe she doesn't get it. What she did was wrong. You know what I mean? Maybe it's like, okay, we need to keep talking about this because this is really wrong. This is really gross. And it's also unsolicited nudes. They weren't, no one was asking for this. I don't know the inside joke. She said they're taken out of context. I don't know what the viewing parties or your friend posing next to them are like. I just had to make this video to say I don't stand behind Colleen whatsoever. Her video was not an apology, and it took away from the severity of her actions of talking to minors, bringing minors on stage at her show. These people are speaking up and they're uncomfortable for a reason. Acknowledge it, change it, do better. But being told she never sent these photos, and these actually do exist, these text messages, I feel like super disrespected, and at least be honest about it to like show some accountability, to show like, yeah, that was stupid, that was immature, whatever. But I don't stand by her. I'm embarrassed to be associated with her. I'm embarrassed for the fans that she messaged those to. That's should never have
She
happened.
makes a really good point. Just be honest about it. I don't think that Colleen, because of her ego, is able to be honest. I think that she will lie. Even once she's caught, she will continue to lie. And she'll continue to say, oh, you guys took things out of context. Oh, so and so is lying. Somebody's a hater. They're just trying to cancel me. They're trying to use things against me. She has that mentality. But this is actually a very big deal because of the consent part of it and the part of these images being unsolicited and the fact that they were behind an 18 plus paywall. So I don't know what's going to come of this. It could end up being a lot more serious for Colleen. And of course, I can't tell the future. And right now, everything is alleged, just with people sharing their experiences and sharing what they have, and things that they can come forward with. But it sounds like this might get even worse than what it is now. But I wanted to share this video with you guys because as a commentary channel, I do try to be pretty unbiased, and I have made the mistake of, being a little biased before, and I try to really keep that in check. I really do. And with this, I think that two things can be true at once. I can disagree with things that Trisha has said and done in the past, but I can also current day acknowledge her pain and give her the respect of saying she came forward with her feelings and her emotions are valid, and I think her video is one of the more important videos in this conversation. There are tons of videos being made about this, but I do think that some of them are kind of like the cornerstones of the conversation. Obviously, the videos that Adam has made, the videos Johnny has made, the videos Becky has made, and now this video from Trisha. I know that Emily D. Baker talked about it. Kind of leave the kids alone was her stance. So I do think that it's really important. And I think that there are kind of these like building blocks of like which videos are kind of the standout videos. And I do think this is going to be one of them. So I wanted to share it with you guys immediately. And I'm sorry to anyone who has to relive their pain because of all of this unfolding. But I hope that I hope at the end of the day, it gives us some kind of change. Whether the change is Colleen Ballinger retiring Miranda and maybe taking a different approach with her content, especially that she uses her kids as a way to make money, which is gross. I don't think that she'll ever fully take accountability or take full responsibility. But I'd like to see something come out of this. I think a lot of people, including myself, are going to be extremely frustrated if she just takes a month or two off and then comes back and continues making content. Because it's like, you give these people the world. You literally give them a platform, financial freedom, a house, fame, respect. And this is what they do with it. And this is why a lot of people cannot stand YouTubers. They hear YouTubers, especially family vloggers, and it's just like, there's not a lot of good ones out there. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, it is super late. I'm going to wrap this up. So for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.